Hey, how's it going, guys? It's the Llamaster here, and welcome back to another Rocket League video. And in this one, guys, we are going to be getting back into the series of 5 facts, secrets, and glitches with a special episode here going through 5 things that you probably never even knew existed in the new DROPSHOT update. That's right. So before we get into that, I have a quick announcement for you guys, and that is that I am happy to announce that I am officially sponsored by the app Gamerlink. Yes, so the reaction to this app has just been insanely positive, and honestly, it's been a great help to the Rocket League community, helping people find other players to play with. So I thought this would just be a perfect partnership. And if you haven't heard of Gamerlink yet, it is basically the #1 app that lets Rocket League players find the perfect teammates and just people to play with. So basically the app is 100% free. You don't have to pay anything. You just download it, set up what are called beacons, which are basically the type of player that you're looking for based on skill, rank, stuff like that. Or you can just search through other people's beacons and just find other people to play with just super easily. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to do so. I will leave a link down below in the description, and be sure when you're signing up to click that the Llamaster referred you to get a special limited badge to show off in the app. But anyways, guys, enough general talk here, and let's get into this episode with the first fact. Alright guys, so starting off this episode, I kind of have like a bonus fact for you, or more or less kind of like a 2-in-1 fact. But yeah, these facts are definitely pretty interesting because they have to do with a certain wheel that was introduced in the new Turbo Crate, which, as you know, I absolutely love the Turbo Crate. I don't know if it's just all of the items, all of the painted variants you can get, or maybe the endo, the 20XX. There's just so many good items in this crate. I just think they knocked this one out of the park. But with this crate, one of the brand new wheels that you get is a very rare wheel called the Septum. Now, there's actually 2 interesting facts about this. Now, the first of which actually has to do with what a lot of us thought was a bug with these wheels. Now, the thing that I'm talking about here that a lot of us just thought was a glitch is that when you get painted Septum wheels, they don't have that usual glow to them. Now, if you're like me, you probably just thought that this was a glitch and that they'll fix it in the future, but that's not actually the case. On a certain Reddit post, Psyonix Devin actually replied to this question of this supposed bug at the time and said, quote, that I just followed up on this and the painted Septum wheels do have a glow. It's just incredibly hard to see based on how we do wheels paint in our FX process. So as you can easily tell from that, apparently this is intentional. Now that is just really weird to me because Septums actually have a very nice glow to them. It's super bright, really noticeable, especially for a very rare wheel, but I just don't know why they wouldn't try to find like a workaround around their system not really creating that glow, but apparently this is how the Septum wheels are always gonna look. But anyways, moving on to the second little secret about the Septum wheels, and this one actually comes from a fan, so big shout out to MaryCop4, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but he let me know about a little secret about why these wheels are called Septum, and it's actually pretty simple, but the word septum is actually Latin for 7, which is of course a direct reference to the 7 spokes on the wheel. So that's definitely a very cool little secret that a lot of us don't know, unless of course you know some basic Latin, but it is definitely a very cool little secret for one of the coolest very rare wheels. But moving on again here, and this time to just kind of some interesting stuff that has to do with the DROPSHOT map itself, and more specifically what happens under the map DROPSHOT. But if you want to do this yourself in game, it's very simple. It's the same process we've done in the past to get under maps and kind of look around, but basically all you need to do is just get a replay on the DROPSHOT map, and then once you're viewing that replay, simply soft attach to your car, and that will allow you to look under the map. Now the under the map portion of DROPSHOT is just pretty insane. There's just so much to look at, with the first of which being if you just go barely under the surface, you can see that that colored haze is just a simple thin layer laid over the rest of like the models and textures. So if you then go even under that, you see that it immediately disappears and you get to see the rest of the textures, all of those hexagons, the weird grid texture under that. And then if you keep going down even further, you get to see this very big sort of extended area that you never get to see in game. Now I'm not 100% sure why this area is even here, because again, if we go up a little bit, that area disappears very quickly. But that's not the only thing interesting about this place. Once you start to actually break tiles and open them up, they start to light up each of the hexagon areas. But adding on to that, once you go below that black layer that kind of cuts off the bigger chasm part, you can see that it's meant to hide the broken pieces when you break a panel open. But overall, it's just very cool to see those design choices and see exactly how Psyonix sort of created this illusion for this really awesome map. But moving on to things now that are definitely Easter eggs, there are actually 2 very big hidden Easter eggs, which is actually really fitting considering we got the Easter Easter items recently, but with both of these items, and they're both actually decals from the Turbo Crate, they have some very interesting secrets to them. So the first of which, and let's just go into the Turbo Crate itself so we can see all of the items here, and this is how you can see it for yourself if you don't happen to have the decal which goes by the name of Dominus Suji. But with this one, there's a little kind of hidden secret right on the side of it. Now, some of you may be able to see it right away, but the secret has to do with these graffiti letters right here. So I'll give you a second here to kind of decipher what exactly this word is, because it is definitely a very artistic approach to it, so to say, but if you haven't noticed it, it actually says psionics. So yeah, it's a little hard to tell. The Y is definitely pretty hidden and actually kind of looks like a 4, and then the N is for some reason on its side, but looking at it closely, you can definitely see that it for sure says psionics. Now, along with this, it also says it on the back right here, pretty much using that same exact design, but it does 100% reference psionics themselves. Now, along with that, there are some other graffiti things, but I can't tell what they mean. I mean, I think this one has like a skull below it. I'm not really sure, but I was able to figure out this little cool Easter egg on the side. Now, moving on to the second Easter egg and the fourth sort of fact of this episode. This one has to do with my arch nemesis of this crate, the Masamune Kawaii decal. Now, this decal just... oh my. I absolutely hate this thing just because of how much I've gotten it, but it does have a cool little reference that happens on the back right in the lower corner right here. So yeah, this weird little space bunny carrying a giant carrot is a reference to the map Neo Tokyo. So yeah, when you go into Neo Tokyo and look around the outside, there's all of this crazy stuff going on, but one of the biggest things that you probably already know about is the giant like space bunny type creature carrying that giant carrot. So overall, it's definitely a very cool Easter egg to have this sort of Asian-inspired decal reference this Asian-inspired map and pay homage to how it was just brutally taken out of Rocket League. But anyways, on that note, let's move on to the final secret of this episode that has to do with every single car in the game. So I know that sounds pretty big, but it's a fairly subtle kind of secret fact that you've honestly probably seen before but never actually noticed. So what the secret is that a bunch of the cars in the game have different colored brake pads. Now again, what's weird about this is that we've all seen these wheels. I mean, we've all looked at them for just a ton of time, but the brake pads on them are actually different colors. So for a lot of the common ones that we've had since the very beginning, so like the Octane, the Breakout, these ones just stick with the basic black colored brakes. However, once we get into the newer cars like with the Endo, they instead have red colored brakes. Now of course this is just because it's like a sports car, it's got to have those nice like Brembo brakes on it, but what's kind of funny about that is that the main other car that has these red brakes is the Twin Mill 3, which as a matter of fact has even brighter brakes than the Endo. So that's definitely pretty interesting, but along with this, if we go to the Ice Charger, this one instead has sort of yellowish gold brakes. Now the only other car that has a very similar color to this is actually the Takumi and maybe the original X-Devil, but those are more tan. But yeah, the Ice Charger actually has these very uniquely colored brake pads. So overall, it's definitely a very subtle thing, but it's just a really cool thing to know about and see exactly just how much detail Psionics goes to when designing these cars. But anyways guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. It only takes a second and it helps me out a ton. And do not forget to subscribe, as well as check out some of my previous videos, such as a full showcase of every single painted roulette wheel, and also a showcase of the brand new Tora Mystery decal. But other than that guys, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm the Llamacer, and I will see you guys next time.